Welcome to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everyone, you are listening to episode 93. Personal responsibility is the key to your success. How are you guys doing out there? Welcome to the show. I'm going to take a minute and tell you that it's trash day here. So right outside my window, I've been hearing trash trucks all morning. Hopefully you won't, but you know, such is life when you work from home. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Hopefully we can minimize it, but I'm doing wonderful. The sun is shining. It's warming up here in Virginia. I'm in a good mood. I feel really optimistic. Business is strong. You know, I just feel like we're on the right path. I hope that you are feeling that too. Whether you are or you aren't, I think today's show is a really good message. In fact, it's talking about personal responsibility is so huge for me. And I think that's a lot of the reason why I'm feeling so good, because I'm choosing to feel really good right now, no matter what's going on in the world. But I want to ask you really quick, take a minute to share this show with someone that you know, or even better, give it a review on iTunes. Very much appreciated and really, really helps the show. And if you didn't check out last week's episode, I would highly recommend it. I interviewed my past client, Alex, and he's terrific. He's made such a transformation in his career, and he has a great story to tell. So if you missed last time, it's called Focus on the Bigger Picture with Alex Petrov, and you really, really should take a listen. There's some great takeaways in there. And Alex is a loyal listener of the show and lists off some of his favorite episodes, which I would really appreciate. I didn't ask him to do that. He did that all on his own, I promise. But anyway, what I want to do is, today's show is very much about your career. It is, but it's about your whole life. It's about everything. I want to talk to you today about something that I feel very passionate about, and that's personal responsibility. If I had to boil down the secret of success, it is this one thing above everything else. What I see from a lot of people is, and in the past from myself too, I'm always working on this myself, but a lack of taking personal responsibility for every aspect of your life. That is what's really holding you back from success. It's not anything else. And I think we need to take a minute to define what personal responsibility really means. Because a lot of people, I think, will sit there and go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I do that. Totally. I'm all for personal responsibility. And they have no idea what that actually means in practice. They think they're doing it, but they're not. And I'm one of those people. I would have thought that I was doing that in the past, but I think I know now a lot clearer what it actually means, not in theory, but in practice, to actually take responsibility for your whole life. And so I'm going to come at you with a pretty bold and strong message today. But I want to share with you how you can increase the level of ownership and pride and responsibility and control that you have in your career and your entire life. And if you put this into practice, I promise you, it will transform your life. And you will be able to feel better and happier and more empowered no matter what is going on around you. And let me tell you, friends, that is the ultimate freedom. Okay, bold claims, I know. So what does it really mean to take responsibility for something? It means that you don't blame anybody else for the circumstances in your life. It means that no matter what happens around you, no matter what other people say and do, you take responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and actions and choices. And you always have control over these things. There is never a moment in your life where you don't have complete control over your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your choices. I promise you that. But what happens is that we get used to blaming other people. We blame our spouse, we blame our boss, the government, the weather, whatever, taxes, whatever it might be. And that the blame, not the circumstance, is the reason why we're not as successful and happy and fulfilled in our life. It's the opposite of what we think. At any given moment, you always have the option to choose how to react to a situation and what you make it mean. Those are the 2 points of control that you have. So I'll say those things again. You have control over how you react and what you make the situation mean. And attaching meaning to something is so important. This is everything in life. We constantly think that things have a meaning, but we don't realize we're attaching the meaning to it. And that's a huge difference. And so these are the 2 things you have control over. And they're the only 2 things that you need to have any control over. You don't need control. You think you do, but you don't need control over any other person or outside circumstance in order to change your life and get the results you want. So don't even try. Don't even make that your goal. All you need to do is master controlling yourself. So let's run through an example. Maybe let's say you have a boss that's really abusive or demanding, and they put a lot of pressure on you, micromanage you, cut you down, and all those kinds of things, okay? 2 different people could make this mean 2 different things. One person could internalize it and make it mean that, well, they're no good at their job and they're worthless and they hate life and they hate going to work and there's nothing they can do about it and they're just going to have to put up with it because they just have a really crappy boss. Okay? The second person could see right through this boss and see that they obviously must have some kind of pressures of their own being put on them, or some kind of pain or insecurity about something, or maybe they just don't know how to be a good manager. Maybe there's some other kind of stress in their life that they're not telling you about that's manifesting through this aggressiveness. And none of it has anything to do with you. You better believe that these 2 people are going to have completely different experiences of the same situation because they're making it mean 2 different things and taking 2 different levels of responsibility. The second person is going to be a lot more empowered and happier because they're not taking things personally and they're taking responsibility for their own reaction and their own behaviors. They're not exerting any control over the other person. The circumstance is the same, but they're changing what they make it mean and what they do about it and how it affects them emotionally. And that is everything. That is all you need to totally change your life. So let's do another example real quick. Let's say you don't even have the luxury of a job right now, okay? Let's say you're unemployed and you're looking for work, and maybe you're not getting any results in your job search. It would be really easy to blame this on the pandemic and the job market, or blame it on those lazy recruiters, right, who ghost you and don't get back to you. Blame it on your boss who laid you off and put you in this situation. It's their fault, right? What is that going to get you? How does any of that blame get you closer to your goal and get you a new job? You know it doesn't. And it doesn't even make you feel better. You think it does, but it doesn't. All it does is put you in a negative cycle of complaining over and over again, and then just getting the same results or lack of results over and over again. But again, another person could be in the exact same situation and see this as a layoff as a blessing in disguise. They could see this unemployment as a time to get more training, refresh, regroup before they go into another job, maybe do some self-reflection, spend more time with their family, fine-tune their job search skills. There's a million things that are positive that could be happening during this time. I mean, there's a million different ways you can play this scenario. The choice is up to you. What are you going to do with what life gives you? That is all that matters. And that choice and that responsibility is yours. Okay? All right, let's take a quick commercial break. When we get back, I'm going to run through some specific action steps that you can take to increase your level of responsibility that you're taking in your life, and therefore dramatically increase your happiness and your success. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, while the show takes a quick break, I want to tell you about 2 ways that you can get help in your career for free. First, you can sign up for my mailing list and be a part of my community. I offer in-depth resources and solutions for your career problems. I have a free gift waiting for you when you sign up. Head over to careeruprising.com/signup and join my community today. Then join my LinkedIn group called Career Uprising Premium Online Community. It's growing every day, and you can interact with me and ask questions about your own situation. Just open up LinkedIn now and search for Career Uprising Premium Online Community. And I can't wait to connect with you. Let's get back to the show. All right, so I am a big proponent of action steps, right? Because otherwise everything is just theoretical, and theories are nothing. Theories are nothing unless you put them into action, okay? So I want to give you a couple action steps that you can take. And if you really do the work and pick even just one of these to start with and apply it consistently in your life, give it no more than a week, maybe even less, you will see dramatic changes. First, commit to self-awareness. Self-growth requires you to look at yourself objectively, as if you are not yourself. Does that make any sense? I do this all the time. What I mean is that I often will pause and witness my reaction to somebody else as if I'm not me. I'm completely objective. And I ask myself why I'm feeling this way. Why am I having this reaction? Where is this coming from? What am I making the situation mean? And is it really serving me? Is it really productive to feel the way that I do? Or is it just my ego and hurt feelings, right? You have to witness your own behavior if you're ever going to change it. Apply this to literally anything in your life. You can apply it to your marriage, your job, even trying to change your exercise and dietary habits. Always be noticing yourself and notice how you react to certain stimulus that trigger you, and investigate it for a few minutes and be honest with yourself about what you find. And this is really important too. Never ever judge yourself for having a certain feeling or reaction. Just notice it, figure out where it came from, and then decide if you want to still feel it going forward. When you do this, you will discover that you're often not upset about what you really think. It almost never. There's usually a deeper reason or a different reason of what's actually making you upset in a situation. It's not the thing, okay? It's about an emotion. You need to figure out where your emotions are coming from, and don't judge yourself. It just puts you in a negative cycle of then feeling bad because you felt bad. That's totally unproductive, okay? It's very liberating when you discover this. So practice deep self-awareness and witness yourself in the moment when you have an emotional reaction to something. Second, in any situation that causes you discomfort, I want you to ask yourself what you've contributed to the situation or the conversation. In many cases, there's usually something that you can do differently to prevent the situation from happening or to lessen it. Really dig deep and ask yourself how you're showing up for every situation. And believe me, I have had to do this many times in my relationships. Even though maybe the other person has done something to frustrate me or hurt my feelings or something, I still have to ask myself if there's anything that I could have done to prevent this or to improve my reaction afterwards. We contribute to situations that we encounter so much more than we ever realize. And we have a lot of power here. You may feel like you're in a situation where you have no control, but it's never true. Okay, so let me give you an example too. So let's say maybe you were passed up for a promotion, okay, and you feel like it's really unfair, that you had totally earned it. While you didn't get the job, you can decide now what to do about it. Is there maybe something that you're just not seeing about yourself that caused you to miss the promotion? Maybe. Or if you really feel it was unjust, do you want to stay at that company? You can, but you don't have to. You have choices. You can stay with the company. You can leave the company. You can choose to improve yourself and take the feedback that they give you and try again another time. You can do any of these things. You have a handful of choices here. And none of those choices involve blaming the person who didn't choose you and acting like they owe you something. They don't, okay? That is a hard pill to swallow. I know, okay? But here's why I want you to do it. Accepting reality is always much more empowering than resisting it. Resisting it is always weak and disempowering. Accept what happened and move forward productively. In fact, I can tell you I have personal experience with this. I remember once, years and years ago, I really, really wanted this promotion at my job. And I actually tried for it, not once, but twice. I really wanted to become a regional manager when I was working at Jenny Craig. And I was convinced that it was the right position for me. And I'd had my eye on it for a long time. And those positions didn't come open that often. And I went through pretty rigorous panel interviews both times to try and get it. And I didn't get it either time. And I remember being so frustrated, especially the second time when it didn't happen. I cried. I was so emotional. I felt cheated, you know? But in hindsight, I was not ready for the job. It wouldn't have been what I thought it was. It wasn't what I wanted, at least not at that time and at that company. I really didn't have the skill level and the experience needed to really do a good job and set myself up for success. So I had the desire, but the desire was just a wee bit ahead of me. And that happens sometimes. But that desire often means that it's something that will probably be right for you in the future. It might not be right then, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue it. You should pursue it. But it still might not work out in the short term. And it took really a lot of self-awareness and strength to look back and say that I can't blame them. It's not their fault. You know, it's kind of like that saying, rejection is God's protection. Absolutely, I believe that. Absolutely. So step 3, put yourself in the other person's shoes. And I mean, guys, really, really like push yourself in their perspective. You can do this. So, for example, the next time somebody says something that hurts your feelings or makes you mad, I want you to do something bold. Okay? I want you to assume just for a minute that they're right. Yes, that's what I said. I know, that's like swallowing acid. I get it. Just play along with me for a minute. Come out of your own perspective when it happens and think as if you are the other person. If you were the other person, why would what they said make sense? Why did they think they're right? Not from your perspective, from their perspective. Because from our own perspective, we're always right. This is right. We always feel justified. That's why we say and do the things we do, because we, to ourselves, have a justification for it. So if you can step out of yourself for a second, and you likely do know the other person, especially when you're dealing with a spouse. I'm willing to bet you know your spouse well enough to know what they think and why they're feeling and saying what they do. So stop and ask yourself, if you're them, why would you say what you said? Why would you feel the way that they feel? How do you think they arrived at that conclusion? Understanding is forgiving. You want to understand them. And you likely do know enough about the person to be able to take a pretty good guess at where they're coming from. But you just don't really try because you're so lost and stuck in your own ego and your own hurt feelings that you can't come out of that and see their perspective. But it's so empowering when you do. And it heals and transforms relationships. Okay? Now, it doesn't actually have to mean that they are right and that you have to agree with everything that they say, okay? But it does mean that you are giving them the courtesy of trying to understand their perspective. And when you understand, you can work through differences, okay? Understanding is forgiving. And it's kind of like Stephen Covey, I think, said in one of his books, like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Those are words of wisdom, my friends. Words of wisdom. Okay. There you have it. That was my little soapbox speech. We all have to take personal responsibility for everything. Think about what's going on in the world right now. We're still not out of the woods yet with the pandemic, and we've had all these restrictions put on us, and life has been hard, right? But it's really just beckoning us to get to deeper and deeper levels of responsibility. We may not be able to change what happened, but we can absolutely take control of our experience of what is happening, because you better believe people are having different experiences all over the country to the same pandemic. Why? Because of who they are, their mindset, and how much responsibility they're taking over their experience of it. Okay? Think about that for a little bit. Okay, thank you guys so much for listening today. You can learn more about me at careeruprising.com. Check out all my past episodes while you're there. You can also check out all the low-cost resources that I have in my online store. Those are a great option if you don't feel like you can afford coaching right now, or you just want to get a little sampling of my style before you work with me. But either way, go to careeruprising.com. Check out the podcast, the success stories, the online store, my blog. There's lots and lots of things to do there. And I'd love to have a phone call with you to see if coaching is right for you. Okay? Thanks, guys. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.